Hello everyone, this is Vinay here from Learn Coding with Vinay again. In this video, we are going to discuss two interesting use cases. First one is, we want to prioritize the values in a dropdown, and second will be dynamic order by. So let's understand this by an example. Let me go to, MakeMyTrip.com website. If I go over here and if we see in this dropdown, India is always first, right? Remaining countries goes after that, right? If we see the second example, INR rupees, will always be first value in the drop down. Remaining will goes either based on the priority, they are based on the priority, or based on the frequent usage, or based on the alphanumeric order, right? So this is an example where actually values in the drop down are prioritized in some or the other manner, right? Let's take one more example. If I go here, and I uh, go for a search, right? Then the popular cities are listed first, and probably the least popular will go after that, right? So if we want to implement this in SQL, how we would do that? Let's understand it by an example. So I have kept the example very simple. As of now, we have, let's say, a table called country. We have put down some values, some countries, 7 country name. So if I fire this query, which is select id country name from country order by country name, then see the output what is happening over here. See, the country names are aligned A to Z. So basically they are ordered in A to Z manner, right? Now what if I want India to remain at top of this list every time whenever there is a drop down? Let's say if there is a drop down in your mobile application or web application, I want India to be first value and remaining values should follow the alphabetical order, right? Then how we can do that? So let's see. So if we want to achieve that, then we will have to create one dummy column, and we will have to order based on that dummy column. Here we are not actually creating a dummy column in the select list, we are directly using in the order by clause. So what we have done, select id country name from table name order by. So whatever country we want to make the first in the list, that we will have to pass as a pass over here, right? So we are saying if country name is India, then we are assigning a dummy value 0, and for rest of the country we are assigning dummy value 1. And so this will be our first order by. So the values 0 and 1, right? So we are assigning India value 0 and remaining 1. So obviously India will always be on top. And for remaining to be in alphabetic order, we are again ordering by another column, which is country name, which we already have as a part of our table only, right? So if I go ahead and run this, see the output. India will always be on top, and remaining countries will follow the alphabetical order A to Z, right? And now let's take one more example. Now let's say if we want to pass more more countries, or for example, we want to have few countries to be on top of the list and remaining will follow the alphabetical order. Then what do we do? Then take a look at this example. Here we are checking, right, in the order by statement. Here we are checking if India, then we are marking it as 0. If Japan, we are marking is at 1, and remaining we are marking is at 2. So first order by will be based on these values 0, 1 and 2, and second order by will be based on the country name, right? And here I have taken this column as a part of select statement also. So let's see what will happen over here. See, India is on top, then Japan. So India is 0, Japan is 1, and the remaining are marked 2, and the remaining values are in alphabetical order again, A to Z. And so this is how you can actually prioritize your values in a drop down, right? Now let's say you want to parameterize it. We want to pass a parameter, and that value should always be on top. Then how do we do that? Then we are declaring a variable over here. We are assigning a value Japan over here. Again, we are doing the same query that we did in first example. Only thing here, we are checking country name is equal to whatever our variable name is, right? Then we are marking it as 0, and remaining we are marking it as 1. If I go ahead and run this query, then Japan will be always on top of the list, and remaining will follow the alphabetical order A to Z, or whatever we have specified, ascending or descending. Here we have not specified anything, so by default it is ascending. Let me mark this India, right? So India will remain on top of the list, and remaining will be follow it, and that they will follow the alphabetic order, which is A to Z, right? So this is how you can actually prioritize your values in drop down, right? And this is the case when you don't have order by in your table as a part of order number as a part of your table column, right? So we have only two columns, right? If you are maintaining something like this, that order number as a third column, then you probably don't need to do this, then you have the order number, right? So this is how you can prioritize or order your values in a drop down, right? Now let's move to the second example. Now second example is dynamic order by. So what is dynamic order by? So let me take you to an example so you will understand it better. So I am on amazon.in, right? I have made us, let me search for bottle, right? So once we are in the search page and the product list product are displayed, see at the right corner we have sorting options. First one is price low to high, second is price high to low. So basically these two sorting will be based on a column called price. Let's consider that, right? Then this will be based on an average customer reviews, right? Rating. This will be new arrival, maybe new arrival tag, or added on the top of the list or something like this. And the next one is base seller. So base seller, maybe the product, those are sold max numbers, right? So if we consider this example, then we have dynamic order by, right? Because first two will be based on price column, third one will be rating column, fourth one will be some tag, new arrival, right? Or maybe category, and the next one will be number of products sold, right? Base seller. Let's take one more example, the same example on flipkart.com, right? So if you go to flipkart.com, I have searched the same thing, bottle, right? If I go over here, sort by, look at this sort by relevance, maybe relevance to my search keyword, right? Then we say popularity, again the number of time the product was sold, right? Or maybe rated maximum. Then again price, low to high, again high to low, right? So these are actually different columns, and based on that, whatever we are selecting, based on that the values are ordered, right? So if you want to implement this in SQL, then let's understand with a very simple example how we can achieve this, right? So let's take a look at this example where we have product, we have ID, product name, and price. We have put down some values, right? So if we go ahead and I'll just say select star from the table name, then this is what we have as of now, right? Now let's say we want to dynamically order the values coming as a part of the result set. Now what do we need to do? Probably we will create a store procedure that will have a sort column and sort direction as parameter, right? And in this store procedure we will have the dynamic query. So we have two options actually, dynamic query and with a static query. We will see both examples. So this is an example of using dynamic query to achieve order by, dynamic order by, right? So here what we have done, simple, we have taken a string, and in this string we are concatenating multiple string and parameters, and ultimately which will be result in a valid SQL statement, and that valid SQL statement will be executed as a part of this sp execute SQL at the rate SQL. So this at the rate SQL is will be our final query. And so what we have done, ID, we have taken ID, product name, price, from products, order by, then quote name, sort column, then the name of the column, and then the sort direction, that is ascending or descending, right? So let's run this by an example. So let's say if I want to order by product name and the order should be ascending, then let me go ahead and fire this. Then see this, the product are actually aligned from A to Z based on the product name: keyboard, laptop, monitor, mouse, speaker, webcam, right? Now let's say I want to order data based on the price column now. So what I'll be doing, I'll say price, pass price as a column, and this time I'm using the descending order. So if I go ahead and run this, right, so order are aligned based on their price. So and that too in descending order. So the product with the highest price will be on top and the minimum price will be at the bottom, right? So this is how we can achieve the dynamic sorting using a dynamic SQL, right? Now let's take a look at the another approach where we don't want to use the dynamic SQL, right? So here I have created one more store procedure that is accepting the same sort column and sort direction parameter, right? But we have not used dynamic SQL because see, there are advantages and disadvantages of both of these approach that we will discuss at the end of this video, right? But let's take this example as of now, right? So what we have done, while order by, we are checking if the sort column name is product name and the direction is ASC, then we are doing something, right? If we have sort column name as product name and sort direction is DSC, then we are doing something, right? Then we are, here we are marking it ascending, here we are marking it descending. Again same thing with the price column, right? We are checking if the column name is price and direction name is ASC, then we are sorting it based on the price column and ascending. Similar with the in the next example, here we are ordering the products based on the column price and the sort direction would be descending, right? So let me run this example also, let me run this both, right? So what we will see in the first list, we are aligning, we are sorting the products based on the product name, so they are aligned A to Z over here, right? And in the second, we are aligning the product based on the price. So product with the maximum price is on the top and product with the minimum price is at the bottom, right? So this is how you can actually achieve dynamic sorting use in SQL, right? Now this was a very basic example, but now which approach to use, whether to use dynamic SQL or whether to use static SQL. Now this is an example of static SQL, right? Now the first thumb rule says that we should always avoid dynamic SQL, right? We should always go for static SQL, right? Second point, if we discuss, then if there is a screen, if you are developing a screen that actually allows user to select columns and direction, then probably we are left with no choice because we will have to go with the dynamic SQL approach only, right? Because in that example, let's say we have provided a screen that user can sort data based on 5 or 6 columns, right? If we go for an approach of this static SQL, that take a look at this case example. Now we have only 4, but with 5 columns it will be 5 multiplied by 2. Why 2? Because the order also matters, ascending and descending, right? So probably we will see 10 this case statement in our SQL, which is not which is quite a verbose, as from a maintenance perspective also it is not a good idea, right? So again, coming back to the topic, if you are developing a screen where user need to select the column and ordering, go for dynamic SQL. And if the column numbers are more, actually if the column numbers are just 1 or 2, then go for the static example, right? Now if the column number are less, right, then we should go for static example. Why? Because first thing is that dynamic SQL, the if we run something using dynamic SQL, the query execution plan of it is not saved, right? While when we use the static SQL approach, the query execution plan of that query is cached somewhere in the database server, right? So the next time we run that same query or next time we run this same store procedure, it uses the optimum plan to run our query. So eventually in longer run it results in faster performance, right? So depending on the scenario you have, right, either you go for dynamic SQL or either you go for static SQL. Right, so I hope you like this video and learn something new today. And for more SQL tricks and tips, subscribe to my channel, which is Learn Coding with Vinay-SQL for Developers. And see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Thanks a lot, guys.